Los artistas, las noticias, tendencias y más. Aquí en Urbano Hub. Lo más buscado.
And that's why I be like, you know, they say, Sway and Tech, boy, originators. That's why they say, yo, Mafio, hit your guy. Akon is an hour late, bro. There you go. Don't play with me, niggas, man. Don't play with me. Don't play with me, guys. Don't play with me. Don't play with me.
Yo, bro, I've been sitting there, listen, I've been trying to get accepted for 30 minutes.
Yo, Akon, all you had to go was go, yo, I'm here.
But that's how, I'm telling you, that's how they got you. That's how
Akon, you making Africa look fucked up. Man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah, Akon, yo, let me tell you something, man. I done played all type of shit. I played a Magic System. Then I played Mama Africa. Man, I was trying to hold on. I was like, damn, man.
Hey, listen, I apologize. I actually was, I headed to the grocery store to go grab some groceries, and I had left at 7:30, but when I came back this way, it was an accident, and it got super dark as I was coming back, so I was like, man, if I get on now, they won't see my face. So I was like, let me just try to help and get to the house. So I was calling.
Yeah, I mean, you killing me. I done had every guest in the world. Nobody was a no-show. They was killing me on the comments.
No, I would never.
Ain't coming.
I would never do that to you, little big bro. I would never do that. You know that.
Damn, Akon, so now we 1,000. We batting 100 because all our guests have really showed up.
Right.
Yo, Akon, Senegal, Africa.
Huh?
Where you start? Tell us the importance of Senegal in Africa. Its location. I know, but I want you to tell the people.
Yeah, so for a lot of people that don't know, man, Senegal is like, it's the primary location for anything from West Africa and beyond. Reason being is because it's only 6 hours from New York on a plane, same distance from New York to LA, 6 hours from Senegal to Paris, 6 hours from Paris, 6 hours from Dubai, 6 hours from Morocco, 6 hours from the UK. So it don't matter where you coming from, man. That magic number 6 will bring you straight there, one direct flight straight into Senegal. So it's the perfect destination if you want to go anywhere into Africa. You know what I'm saying?
It's also the place. It's also the place that's closest to the United States.
Right.
So that's where slavery. That's the last stop for slavery. Can you talk about that? Because I went over there.
That was the first. That was a stop where from like, that's where they gathered all the slaves, period, to figure out where they was going to go in the world. Like, all the slaves would come, all be in Senegal, and then they go through that door of no return, and they go, whether they going to Europe, whether they going to the Virgin Islands, or whether they going to America. From Senegal, that's where they shipped all the slaves out. And if they was going to be connecting, then they would connect through Ghana.
Wow, man. And let me tell you, so it's such a historical place. And you said something, the door of no return. I never realized, did any African slaves ever make it back to Africa? Like, when slavery was over, did any slaves ever make it back?
You know, that's actually a good question, Joe. Like, honestly, I don't think any of them ever really made it back. You know, that's what African Americans, those are the slaves that never made it back. Like, all of our homies in Brooklyn and LA and Chicago, those are the same, those are the descendants of those slaves that never made it back. And as you know, especially when you look at things like the Willie Lynch letter as to how they programmed our brains, man, and so much fear and not being able to, like, develop into anything bigger than what we know ourselves to be, and that's service. So at the end of the day, when you look at where we at and how sometimes a lot of us, like, we kind of broke the chain because we went against all odds to make it to where we at. But the average African American, man, they kind of content with where they at. And they may have a dream, but they may think the dream is too big to be achieved. So it was all of that training leaving all the way up until now, man, that route that allowed us to really not be as, great as we should be, man, because we've been brainwashed in so many ways.
Akon, man, you're different than me. You're a kid from Senegal. I'm a kid from the Bronx. And, you made it through your talents and your music, but you still find a way to do something that's bigger than that. You go back to to the motherland and you put lights. Explain to us what you've been doing with the lights in Africa.
All right, so it started as a philanthropic idea, something that we did for a charity to give back home. And I realized as we started to give and donate lights into Africa, man, I didn't realize how many people in Africa was without no electricity. You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy because Africa actually, we're the ones that they extract all the elements from Africa to create electricity for everywhere else in the world. You know what I mean? So I didn't really understand how we was like really that definitely damn near 70%, black in the whole continent that feeds over 1 billion people. So then I started to realize how much of an impact this had to be. And it started from a charity standpoint. Then before you know it, I created it went from a non-profit to a for-profit business. Because one thing I never wanted was Africa to be the richest country in the world, but didn't have their hand out. So then I started to get more educated, with electricity, understanding how it all works, the elements of it, the different types of ways to distribute energy and things of that nature. And then before you know it, I ended up creating the solar aspect because I feel like solar was the way to go in Africa because we got so much sun that we'll never run out of. Africa got everything, literally, including sun that can electrify the whole continent. So that became my concentrated way of just providing, electricity to the continent. But we started donating lights to all the villages. And then from there, we used that, utilizing that to be able to get all the local officials to get us the contracts for the cities. And now we're in 16 countries actually providing lights for everybody in Africa.
Man, bro.
Right.
That's crazy, Akon, because, I went on tour with you in Africa.
Right.
And I don't know how honest I can be on this live, but me and you was on tour, man.
Right.
And every country we went to, it's about 6 Lamborghinis, 6 drop top Ferraris, and every place we come out, it's like Akon get to pick whatever car he wants. You jump in the car, and massive, beautiful women waiting for Akon all over Africa.
You too, Joe.
No, I'm just saying, stop. Yo, Akon, I'm sitting there and I'm like, yo, Akon, something else. I said, yo, Akon, you're really the king of Africa. Like, I watch you stand there and people trying to get at you. We perform in the stadiums, and people on, just say the football things, they breaking the whole shit down. When the goal, I
right.
see something with you I ain't seen nowhere else. And the thing about Africa, what people may not know, is that there's different countries all over the continent.
Right.
But you're the only one guy. Besides you, what is it? Happy birthday to my brother Romelu Kaku. Is it a soccer player? Who? Because you reflect all of Africa. So
right.
every country we went to, they felt like you was from there.
Right. Yeah, because I always looked at Africa as one big, large continent. Of course, you got East, West, North, and South Africa, but colonially, they try to make us separate each other and say, well, no, I'm from Niger Delta, or I'm from Senegal, or I'm from Cameroon, no, I'm from South Africa, I'm from Zimbabwe. But at the end of the day, man, it's
hold up 1 second, Akon. Tell me colonial. Let me break down colonial to the people here. What does that mean?
So Africa was broken down into different colonial properties, right? You got the French that own and control parts of Africa. You got the British that own and control parts of Africa. You got the Italians that run, and then you got the Portuguese also that run and control certain parts of Africa, right? The Americans never really went into Africa like that, so they don't really have too much control into that aspect of it. But because of those colonial aspects being targeting those particular countries, they all went there for specific resources, whether it be gold, iron ore, diamonds, platinum, or whatever the case they out there in there for. They all have their agendas. And what they used to do, because that area, for instance, let's say Sierra Leone, that's fully rich of diamonds, whoever controls Sierra Leone will create wars against the other side and then go do tribal wars so they can pretty much have the control over those diamonds. So they would, you could say, provide weapons to the locals there to go off on anybody that would come into that particular territory. So it's no different from LA gangs. Like, you know, all it takes is for somebody to get a cousin shot, then that cousin's cousin come back to retaliate for that person. And before you know it, you got two tribes going against each other. But at the end of the day, what ended up happening was because they had those controls, they know how to create conflict amongst each other to stay controlling over the minerals and all the elements that's within Africa itself. So that's what really killed us in so many ways, because they allowed, we as Africans, we allowed to get paid to protect our own minerals, but we're protecting it for them rather than for ourselves.
Okay, that is beautiful, because everywhere we went in Africa, there was a different dialect.
Right.
So,
It's
like in Equatorial Guinea, all they speak is Spanish.
Senegal alone got over 1,500 languages. That's just one country.
That shit's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, Equatorial Guinea, people don't know.
Right.
There's a country only talks Spanish.
Yeah. So
in
yeah,
Africa.
Spanish, Portuguese, and French. Yeah.
And then so you go to Angola,
right?
They speak Portuguese.
Right.
So I'm going all around Africa, and everybody's speaking different languages. And that's when I get to my concept. When I say, I believe we all African, even Caribbean Latinos, right? Because slavery came to Cuba, slavery came to Puerto Rico, slavery came to Santo Domingo.
A lot of people don't understand, like Puerto Ricans. Let me explain why Puerto Ricans and blacks are so tight, and we're so, like, it's the sum about, if you notice, and I know you noticed this, Joe, when you out there, like between the Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, right? There's a certain bond between black people and Puerto Ricans, right? Because we got so much in common, right? And then there's a huge bond between even Dominicans and Haitians, right? But this is the thing. People don't even realize Puerto Ricans are Portuguese. Like, they are Portuguese. Like, and then when you went to Angola, you felt like, get the fuck out. You can talk, you can speak your slang Puerto Rican, and they responded back to you. Like, but
was that, was that before or after I got kidnapped by Riquinho over there?
Oh, Riquinho? Hey, Joe, you don't know how many people I freed from Riquinho, man. Riquinho was a monster, man. That dude, man. Riquinho is a problem, bro.
And so, when I say that, Akon, people, they take offense to it. When I say, I say Cuba at one time had 8 million people. Right. 5 million were slaves, unfortunately. 3 million were from Cuba. Right. And they all, when slavery was over, thank God, everybody integrated and had babies. Right, right. And this is why I tell them all the time. Some people look at me like I'm crazy when I say this shit.
Nah, Joe, you ain't crazy at all, man. This is the reason why Cubans have such a huge African influence, because there was more Africans in Cuba than there was actually Cubans. You're 100% correct. Like, Cubans, they're considered Africans. I don't care how you see it.
That's how I figure it. You know what I'm saying? So, and so when I go home, when I go to Africa, I feel like I'm home, Akon. I feel like, I don't know why, I've never felt like out of pocket or scared or anything in Africa, because I feel like we home. You know what I mean? Right. And the love is crazy. So you started out Akon, killed the whole game, and then you signed Lady Gaga. How did that come about?
Oh, man. Well, the Lady Gaga situation, man, to this day, I always felt there was something special there. You know what I mean? She was always super creative. I mean, as quiet and shy as she was a monster when she got on that stage. I was working with Red One at the time. He was a Moroccan producer that I had just signed at that moment, and I had just closed my deal over at Interscope, and I was going through everything that they had in that building. And at the time, when I first heard Gaga with a demo, I didn't really understand. I kind of went past her because I didn't know what that was, because she was doing a lot of jazz. You know what I mean? So I got stuck working. At the time, I was writing records for the Pussycat Dolls, and I caught a writer's block, and I couldn't come up with nothing, man. I was like, yo, Red, I need somebody I can just collaborate with. I need something that's going to, trigger my, creative. He said, yo, I know this girl that's pretty dope. She's a dope songwriter, and believe me, when you see her, she going to trigger some ideas. And comes walking in Lady Gaga with these all gold leotards, right? So off top, you know, coming in looking like she from the 80s. And just so you know, this was who she was naturally. This wasn't something that we turned her into. That was just who she was. And as we writing this record, man, at the time, I was like, damn, while she's in the booth, she's demoing the song out because I wanted her to demo it out so the girls can hear it. And I was like, damn, this chick is a star. So I was like, yo, what's her situation, Red? He was like, you know, I think she signed to Interscope. I said, nah, you sure? He said, all right, cool. So when she got out the booth, I was like, yo, so what's your situation? You know what I'm saying? I think we could do something. She said, well, you know, I'm at Interscope and this, that, and the other. And I was like, but what's going on with your project? You know, at the time, they kind of couldn't figure out exactly what to do because I could understand why. Because when I heard the demo, she was really doing jazz. It was like, because, you know, she's like a classical pianist. A lot of people didn't really know that. Like, she's really musical. So I think the talent just was being referred in the wrong way, you know. So I said, yo, let's just get this together. And then let me call Jimmy and see what's the deal. So I called Jimmy Iovine. I said, yo, Jimmy, man, I think I found the girl that, you know. So he was like, I said, who? I said, Gaga. He said, really? I said, yeah, I think, you know, I think that's the one, bro. I think just give me 100% with this. Don't let nobody get in my way and just let me take this over and let me own it. And Jimmy was like, all right, man, you're going to owe me one after this. I said, no, you're going to owe me one after this. Right? So, you know, Jimmy was always like, he always supported everything I ever did, man. Till this day, I always gave him the credit for what, you know, where I'm at from an entrepreneur standpoint and him believing in me, just understanding the artist and seeing a vision of an artist that no one really, you know, got. So he kind of fought with me, you know what I mean? And before you know it, but the only thing was letting that record go, because the record that she was recording that was supposed to be for the Pussycat Dolls was Just Dance. So now I had to have a conversation with Jimmy, like, yo, Jimmy, I need this for her. You know what I mean? He's like, God, don't do this to me. You know, we need this record on these girls. And I'm like, I know, man, but the girls, Pussycat Dolls is already big. This is the kind of record that makes another superstar. And again, you know, Jimmy.
You know what's crazy is that's what happened to me when Irv and Ja did What's Love for Me.
Right.
Shantae wasn't out yet, and she did the reference. But she sounds so beautiful on What's Love.
Right.
It was like, yo, we want J-Lo. She's doing that so J-Lo could sing it.
Right.
And I was like, yo, but this girl sounds fire. And they was like, yeah, but that's just the girl that be in the studio. I'm like, nah, B.
Right.
This is crazy. And shit went #1 in America. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, because it felt natural.
Yeah, because people don't realize, man, sometimes it ain't who's singing it. It's how the song is being sung. Like, prime example, like, I always go back to these references, man. I remember back in the early house music records, like, I got the power. You never knew who that was singing on that song. You never knew. You find out later that it was an overweight woman with just a beautiful voice, but she didn't have the look. So they always put these little models in there singing her parts, but you never really know, you know what I'm saying? And it brought me back to Kelly Price. I remember when Kelly Price first came out, and she had the most beautiful voice, sounded like an angel, but everybody at the label was afraid that she didn't have the look because she was overweight. You know what I mean? So they pushed the record out, but by the time they revealed who she was, it was a year later, and it was too late because you already fell into her.
Yeah, they were doing that shit with Tina Marie with Rick James. She was white, and she was killing that shit, and they wouldn't shoot videos. They wouldn't let nobody know she was white. Her shit was going gold and all that, till they realized, oh shit, it's a white woman singing black as fuck, bro. Like, you know what I mean? And that's how Tina Marie blew up. They used to play that type of shit back in the days.
This is so crazy. I got to tell you the story because we on this, right? So I remember when I brought T-Pain over to SRC with Gob and Steve Rifkin. I was like, yo, I'm telling you, this nigga gonna be the next shit. Y'all gotta, yo, listen, ride with me. Man, they laughed me out that building because they said he was ugly and he wasn't, you know, he don't have the look. And I'm like, man, just forget about the look for a minute. Just listen to these songs. And you know Gabi, right? Gabi.
I know. No, they was cutting them up. They probably broke T-Pain's heart. They was killing them. Take the top hat the fuck out of here. Get out. You know, Gabi was probably destroying them.
Destroying them. But you know what, though? The best thing that ever happened, though, is when that record hit #1, boy. I'm telling you, when I tell you that whole building they was just throwing up. Because I was like,
T-Pain, he had a bunch of #1s. I remember one time, So you know how you go to the Grammys and then you do the radio interviews. They got like 20, 30 stations together, like in one thing.
Right.
And I remember I was standing behind T-Pain, and the announcer was like, "Well, the man with 13 #1s in a row looking to break the Beatles." I was like, "What the fuck?" I'm saying, you know, I go next. I'm like, "Shit."
Right, man. I'm telling you, Payne was a genius, man. That boy, man, he got something. He's a special. That boy's special, man. And you know, he's like one of them. I kind of always felt and knew that though, man. But I just always felt that it's just a matter of time before he got his just due. Because even when we came out with the whole auto tune and it became this whole big movement for the whole music industry now, as you know, it's a standard. He always was a great singer. You know what I mean? I'm actually the one that actually made him start singing because he came to me as a rapper. And raw too, like a dope ass rapper, you know. And I was like, man, but if you want to get the world, you get the world with melody. Because if you rapping, you're gonna be in certain parts of the countries that they don't speak no English. They won't know what you're saying, and they're not gonna be able to relate. But if you give them melody, even if they don't know what you're saying, they'll be able to feel what you're saying. And there's no way you can, you know, no way you're gonna be able to lose.
Colin, you was making these smashes, though. Like anywhere we went, it was just like, and it was just like. But one thing, there's one thing to have the pride of Africa behind you, but there's another thing, people loving you from all over the world. I don't know how long you went on tour. Like, I was just like, yo, where's Akon now? They like, yo, he in Asia. He over here, he over there. I didn't know.
Yo, you know what's crazy? Like, if you look at my albums and the release cycles, I released a record every 2 years. So I released Trouble at 2004. Then released Convicted 2006, and then released Freedom 2008. So the reason why it took me 2 years to come back around and release a record, because once the record will be released, I would be on the road, and by the time I covered the whole globe, it'd be 2 years and came by, and then I'm recording and sending out the next record. You know what I mean? So people don't
really there, man. I was there.
Only released 3 albums. That's it. I haven't released another 3 albums.
But how many singles you had off of 3 albums? Because you had 20 singles or something.
What? If I have to count singles, I probably released physically off my records, probably about 80 singles. All the other ones was me producing and featuring on other people's records.
Oh,
and that's what kept me. That's why people didn't miss me when I was gone, because when my album cycle was over, I was, you know, producing and writing for other people and featuring on those records. So the features just felt like my records. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Yo,
right.
This is crazy. Yo, Con, I want to tell you about the infamous you owning your own gas station in your house.
That was when I first energy business. I understood the power of energy at that time. So I said, man, listen, I'm not going to the gas station ever again. I'm going to build my own gas station right now in my garage. Because, man, when I realized how much they was actually paying for gas and how much they was actually buying it for, I was like, oh, man, I called Chevron real quick. Listen, I need my own station at the house. So everybody used to come to my house just to fill up.
So let me ask you, yo, Akon, they built a gas station, Chevron, in your house?
Yeah, they actually built the gas station in my house.
So that's possible?
I had 32 cars at that time, you know? And then I was a huge celebrity at the time, so every time I would stop to go get gas, it's almost like it was a headache, man. I'd be there for a whole hour and a half taking pictures and signing autographs. Just
I got to sneak in the back, the 45 Jordan, Baron, and I've been watching this Last Dance, and when you're watching the life of Michael Jordan, the GOAT, you realize how hard it is just to stay sane when you're that famous.
Right.
Like the man would go to practice and there's 100 cameras and then stuff he got to do. And by the time he go to the hotel, there's hundreds of people out there. He go in the hotel, a couple of hours, come out, hundreds of and I know when I see guys like, now I know, like when I see guys like Michael Jackson or see guys like Kanye, and just this immense pressure to where people can't even go outside and be themselves. And I felt that with you when I was in Africa. I was like, yo, how the hell this guy do it? But you adapt, you walk the streets.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, how do these people, that's overwhelming, man, that type of popularity.
Well, and I know in the beginning, it was super overwhelming, but it was fun for me because I know where I came from and I know the situations in the environment that I was in before that. So everybody that came and supported, it was that. Like I really appreciated it from a different place. So I never really understood how like entertainers or influencers or celebrities cannot take pictures with their audience or not take 2 minutes.
Shout out my brother Afro B. He's on the check-in.
Right.
That's that new Africa.
Afro B. Yeah, that's
Afro
my
B on the check-in, boy. And name some other African artists that you're looking at now and you appreciate what they're doing for the game.
Nah, man, you gotta understand, like, a lot of people don't really know the story, but back in 2012, I think it was around 2012, I had went to Nigeria and I stayed there for a few years, right? Started in 2008 to do my research after I dropped my album, and then shortly after the World Cup in South Africa, I went from the World Cup straight to Nigeria. So I was out there for a minute, and that's where I actually signed Wizkid around that time. At that time, he was super young. He was only 15 years old, you know, and people didn't, at the time, the whole Afro beat scene wasn't really identified. It was just a sound that was becoming something great locally. And then it started to become more Afro pop when they started engaging in the production side of it. Like, we're trying to create more melody and sense in the music, because Fela is like the true Afro beat. And that's just real traditional, real acoustic drums, and like everything is raw and real, right? Whereas on the Afro pop side, it's more like hip hop R&B with that influence of Afro beat. You follow what I'm saying? So as that started to come on, I remember Davido being in Atlanta, and Davido at the time lived in Atlanta because he was going to school there. So he couldn't really get his shit going off as much, but he came back to Nigeria, and within a year, he took off, you know, like started moving. So from that moment, I started to realize, man, this has got to be the next movement for the world, because it's so big, and it's only 2 or 3 people that can actually do it. You know what I'm saying?
I knew that my whole life. As I was going to Africa, I knew that was going to cross over and be huge in America.
100%.
It had to. And it's something about the African music, even if you don't even know what they saying, bro. You just in there and them drums are snapping, and you like, and the Brazilian music, Washington Heights, and they playing that shit, that's African drums, bro.
100%.
The tempo and all that shit. So I'm up in there and I'm like, and then blendelo. I'm like, yo, I heard this shit in Africa. Yeah, I'm like, different language.
Right, in different languages, bro. You know, so it took a few years to get it on this side, but the UK kind of caught it first. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I just started, you know, sounding the fluid in, man. And I mean, all the way from P Square to, I mean, everybody. So, but I felt like it was my responsibility to try to help cross it over. But they understood the culture.
Was probably the biggest ones coming after you, right?
Huh?
P Square was like the biggest ones coming after you.
P Square, they kind of opened the door for the pop side of it. Wizkid opened the door for the Afro side of it. You know what I'm saying? And what I admired the most about Davido is that around that time, Davido was kind of working his way up, because Wizkid was the one that everybody was rocking with. But what I admired the most about Davido was the fact that he was such a hard worker. And you can't never count a hard worker out. And you can't never lose when you're a hard worker, because he kept coming. And then he was hungry. So that's why now, man, when I tell you Davido has took the game in a whole nother way, to even start his own company, start rocking with younger artists and putting them on. So he's kind of representing what I always felt that the game necessarily needed for Africa. You know what I'm saying?
I love Burna Boy.
Oh no, so now Burna is our generation, that because he's a little older, so he came speaking the truth. Like Burna came bringing the older generation lyrically what we needed to hear, but then he did it with the more Fela feeling Afro beat. So he took it, he went a little bit less synth and went more Fela Afro beat. So he brought the.
Let me ask you a question.
Right.
My favorite African song in the world, besides Mama Africa, I played it before you came, was Magic System.
Oh my, that guitar?
Yo, I'm talking to people about you.
Whoa, what?
Yo,
Yes,
that's my shit. People thought I was crazy.
But I think what's happening now is gonna make people start exploring more about African music. You know what I mean? Because Magic System, when I tell you, man, that record in Europe, when them guitars come on, forget about it. It's not even.
There was a time when I was going to Africa so much. When I got back here, I would get in my car, and the first record played was the Premier Ghoul, the Magic System Premier Ghoul. I would come back. I met them one time. I did like a couple of shows with them in Africa, and they couldn't believe Fat Joe knew the songs. And I'm like, oh my God, yo, Magic System, baby.
Right.
I'm rocking with them. You know, Africa. Listen, bro. And not to call out nobody, but there's a lot of.
Hey, you know that's where Afro be from, right? They all over there from. You know, they all from the same area over there.
I know, me and we rock
Right.
together. My thing is Afrobeat. My thing is there's a lot of guys that ask rappers, and they like, you know, they never been to Africa, and I'm just like, well, why you never been to Africa? And then they be like, nah, you know, Joe, you been to Africa? I said 100 times. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what the fuck? And then it be some rappers that preach that Africa. Going back to Africa. I've never been to this shit.
It's that fear, man. When I tell you,
what?
They did a number on African Americans in America, bro. I mean, they brainwashed them so much to the point when you even say the word Africa, they just start shaking. It's just fear. And no one knows where the fear comes from. But it goes all the way back down to the slavery and them beating them to the point of fearing, never wanting to go back there. You know what I mean? It transforms back into the gene. That's why that first trip, man, you so scared, you so nervous, you don't know what to expect. You're like, man, I don't know, man. Nah, Con, if you ain't going, man, I'm not going. And I'm like, bro, just get on the plane and go. You don't even understand. All the rights that you're fighting for here, you don't ever have to worry about fighting for that over there. All the equality that you're wanting and that you yearn for so much, and all that racism that you're fighting constantly, that you're always trying to prove that you can do it, and the white man holding me down, all those things you don't ever have to worry about when you're back home. Because that's your land. The tables is turned when you're back over there. They're trying to figure out how they can get a piece.
Let me tell you something. I tell people all the time, the greatest athlete, one of the greatest human beings ever is Muhammad Ali.
Right.
And, you know, that's my idol when it comes to boxing and all that. But when you see the movie and you see Ali Boumbaye, right?
That love.
They done did a Joe Boumbaye in Africa. Like, Joe Boumbaye. I'm walking down the street. I'm telling them, yo, y'all don't know how much the people of Africa love the African-American athletes and artists and stuff like that. Because
they love America.
They're symbolic of they made it.
And you know what's even crazy? They look at African Americans like you guys are the ones that made it. That's just crazy. But they have no idea what niggas is doing, or they have no idea what niggas are suffering over here. They have no idea what people are going through over here. Because America has found they're the best when it comes to manipulating the media. They know they're the best branding country in the world. If you leave the country, and Joe, you know, if you leave America, bro, the way America has painted itself, home of the free, land of the brave, land of opportunity, you really believe it. Because the way they don't show the dirty parts of America. They don't show the parts where niggas getting killed every other hour. They don't show the hood. They don't show none of that. They show you the high rises. They show you the Mercedes Benzes and the Ford trucks and the SUVs that America makes. They show you the stuff that makes you want to go to America. And that's what I be saying about Africa. Y'all got to stop exposing the areas that's challenged. Expose the areas that people are going to want to come and enjoy, the parts that people want to come and experience.
First time I went to Africa.
You know what I'm saying? There's so much of it.
Let me tell you something. First time I went to Africa, I went to Angola, and I went with Ja Rule. And I dead ass was asking Ja Rule on the plane, yo, is giraffes going to look in our window? Is there a lion coming down the street? I didn't fucking know.
Right.
And when I went there, it was skyscrapers. It was, we had the time of our life.
Yeah, at the time of our life, man.
Every time we go, we had the time of our life.
Right.
Yeah, Akon, thanks for showing up, my brother.
Nah,
Nah, you almost.
bro, listen, can I tell you something? I was speeding trying to get home so I could just be in the light because I did not want to disrespect the show by speaking in the car and it's completely dark. Nobody can't see my face, man.
Yo, listen, my brother, I love you, man. Stay safe.
Nah, you got it.
Africa love you. We all love you, my brother. Thank you so much, Akon.
Absolutely.
Beautiful, my brother.
All right, peace.
Number love. There you have it. The African King has arrived. Tomorrow night, I know we went super overtime. Shout out Eric B, Eve. Everybody saying crazy shit on the comments. Listen, tomorrow night, Throwback Thursday. I be scared to announce because I don't know if these people are going to show up. But we got Jazzy Jeff, DJ Jazzy Jeff. Yo, Drop, I love you, brother. You know I talk that. Drop Dead Beats. So triple overtime, Eric B. Damn, man, I went long. Listen, tomorrow night, Throwback Thursday, we got DJ Jazzy Jeff of Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. They're going to talk all that Fresh Prince, what he's up to. And we got the legendary Stephanie Mills. It's Throwback Thursday. Stephanie Mills is coming on. And Friday, I'm going straight with my sister Shantae, and we might have the game coming after that. Scorpio, Furious 5, I see y'all, baby. Stay up. Put God first. Put God first. Yo, Camilo! Dominican. I love y'all. Be good. Peace.
Los artistas, las noticias, tendencias y más. Aquí en Urbano Hub. Lo más buscado.